Now, if I do win a second term as president, let me just say something to all my conspiracy-oriented friends on the right who think I'm planning to unleash some secret agenda. You're absolutely right.
You can't say it, but you know it's true. Good evening, everybody. It is an honor to be here at my last, and perhaps the last, White House Correspondents' Day. You all look great. The end of the Republic has never looked better. So time passes. In just 6 short months, I will be officially a lame duck, which means Congress now will flat out reject my authority, and Republican leaders won't take my phone calls. And this is going to take some getting used to. It's really going to, it's a curveball. I don't know what to do with it. Of course, in fact, 4 months now, congressional Republicans have been saying there are things I cannot do in my final year. Unfortunately, this dinner was not one of them. But on everything else, it's another story. And you know who you are, Republicans. In fact, I think we've got Republican Senators Tim Scott and Cory Gardner. They're in the House, which reminds me, security, bar the doors. Judge Merrick Garland, come on out. We're going to do this right here, right now. It's like the Red Wedding.
Now, meanwhile, the RNC is appropriately calling the Democratic Party Crazytown. Tonight, we will highlight the Democrats and their candidates that are up for election, including Congresswoman Waters and those that are living up to their nickname. And we have a message for former President Obama. He is back in the spotlight talking about his favorite topic, himself. Plus, the deep state, House of Cards, literally now coming crashing down. Tonight, we're on the verge of breaking it wide open. Believe it or not, there are brand new text messages between Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. Now we know for a fact what the insurance plan was because we have coordination between the DOJ and the FBI, and we have the evidence that they were to leak anti-Trump information to you, the public, in the spring of 2017 to destroy the president. Even Mueller's pit bull, Andrew Weissman himself, was allegedly involved in all these dirty deep state leaks. We now know what that insurance policy was. This is yet another damning wrinkle in our investigation into deep state corruption. And meanwhile, the president looks poised to finally declassify critically previously redacted sections of FISA applications against former Trump campaign associate Carter Page. Oh, by the way, the coordination thing between the DOJ and FBI was about Carter Page. He'll join us in just a few minutes. All right, sit tight, buckle up. It is time for our breaking news. We keep bringing you damning information about how corrupt some of these officials are, some who have been hell-bent on defeating President Trump with lies and taking him down with lies. And tonight, even more breaking news. We thought we had them all. We don't. Brand new tonight, text messages uncovered between former FBI lovebirds Strzok and Page proves everything we have been telling you for months. Look at this, a letter from Congressman Mark Meadows of North Carolina to the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein saying, quote, a review of these new documents suggests a coordinated effort on the part of the FBI and the Department of Justice to release information to the public domain potentially harmful to President Donald Trump's administration. They actually did it. And there's even more. Congressman Meadows points out other newly unearthed documents show that Mueller's pit bull, yeah, we've told you about him, Andrew Weissman. Robert Mueller, your #1 guy, and other DOJ officials also leaked similar information to the press. Now, they were coordinating in the DOJ and the FBI to lie to you, the American people. Joining us now, author of #1 New York Times bestseller, The Russian Hoax, The Illicit Scheme to Clear Hillary Clinton, Frame Donald Trump, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, and Fox News investigative reporter and contributor Sarah Carter. Sarah, we'll start with the news as we always do, then we'll get Greg's analysis. Let's first, we have the FBI and the DOJ colluding to leak phony Russian lies to damage the president, the same DOJ that hired Mueller and the same Mueller team or steal surrounding the information. Now,
Sean, I think these are some of the most important documents and important text messages to come out yet, because what they show is that the DOJ and the FBI high-level senior officials were working hand in hand together to leak information on a counterintelligence investigation. They basically confirmed
an ongoing investigation.
That's right, and an ongoing investigation exactly on Carter Page, a foreign intelligence surveillance warrant. I mean, this is, I believe, and Greg can explain this, I think, more clearly. I was speaking to intelligence officials about this, and they said this is absolutely prosecutable. I mean, you do not talk, confirm, leak to the press anything about a counterintelligence investigation. I think this is going to be very important moving forward, and I think this is a main reason why the president needs to declassify the rest of the documents that you just spoke about, the FISA documents, as well as the Bruce Orr 302s. Those are his interviews with the FBI.
And whatever,
and as sources have told me,
Struck and Page communications that haven't been released. This is brand new today. How did we not see this before?
Because they were withholding the information. The Department of Justice is withholding that information, and it trickles out slowly to Congress, because Congress has been fighting over and over for these documents. Just think how many more documents we haven't seen, Sean.
Now, this goes to the issue of firewalls that Steele was talking about with Orr. This goes to the issue of the insurance policy with Strzok and Page. This goes to the issue of Christopher Steele asking Bruce Orr if he got his information to the special counsel. This is what we have. I don't think you can get more corrupt. You have the FBI and the DOJ. DOJ is running this investigation, supposedly, colluding to leak what we now know to be lies to the American people to hurt the president.
That's right.
The same DOJ hired Mueller, and Steele is feeding information through Bruce Orr to Mueller vis-a-vis Weissman.
It's the definition of corruption. If there was ever any doubt that Comey's FBI and Obama's Department of Justice were engaged in an illicit and illegal scheme to frame Donald Trump, this should erase any doubt. And they're bragging about it in their text messages. They were using deliberately, knowingly, willfully false information that they were peddling, in this case, to the Washington Post, which is so biased and gullible they swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. And then afterwards, they're bragging about it to each other.
When you get Orr and McCabe and Page and Strzok and Steele, and then you look at they don't want to be exposed. Steele didn't want to be exposed. And the firewalls, and they're leaking to the special counsel. I'm thinking we now know what the insurance policy is. These are the five hating, the five big Trump haters.
Policy in the event that Hillary Clinton lost the election.
And this is post-election in April of 2017.
Exactly. Was to frame Donald Trump and undo the decision of American voters, undo the election results.
With lies.
That's right. And it's a violation of federal felony statutes, most notably abuse of power. You are not allowed to use your public office to interfere or disrupt with somebody's constitutional rights, the rights to privacy. Carter Page, for example, and the president of the United States peddling a false story that they knew was fabricated.
Vice President Mike Pence calling out former President Obama for reinserting himself back into politics ahead of the midterm elections. The VP saying this unusual move could backfire on Democrats. Here's part of what he told Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday.
It was very disappointing to see President Obama break with the tradition of former presidents and become so political and roll out the same tired arguments that he and liberals have made over the last 8 years. The truth is, the American people in 2016 rejected the policy and direction of Barack Obama when they elected President Donald Trump.
Former Utah Congressman Jason Chaffetz joins us now. He's a Fox News contributor and the author of the new book out next week, The Deep State: How an Army of Bureaucrats Protected Barack Obama and is Working to Destroy the Trump Agenda.
And I think the effectiveness of the Trump presidency is really tearing at the heartstrings, if you will, of Barack Obama.
Meanwhile, I've got to throw to this sound of former President Barack Obama on Friday at that rally, talking about Benghazi and the Republican Party. Watch.
The politics of division and resentment and paranoia has unfortunately found a home in the Republican Party. Embraced wild conspiracy theories like those surrounding Benghazi or my birth certificate. It's not conservative. It sure isn't normal. It's radical.
Obama accusing the Republican Party of conspiracy theories like those surrounding Benghazi. What were you thinking when you heard that?
Oh, I'd love to have a conversation with President Obama about that. Remember, it was President Obama that took the United States into war with Libya. And in an interview with Chris Wallace on Fox News, President Obama said the worst mistake of his presidency was dealing with the aftermath of Libya. There were 4 Americans that were killed, and President Obama, on his watch, refused to send anybody into Benghazi to go help those people. It took the FBI 18 days to get in there afterwards and try to go figure it out. It is offensive to the men and women who served in Libya, who served this country, and who served in the United States military, because that president, President Obama, failed to act. And you know what? Nobody on the campaign trail brought this up except President Obama, and he is fundamentally and totally and wholly wrong. And people like Tonto and Tig and these people who put their lives on the line and saved dozens of people.
Well, thank you for bringing that up.
Shame on the president for saying
Chris
that.
Tonto Pronto came on to respond to those words of the former president. And, of course, he was the private security contractor who was part of the CIA team who fought back that day in 2012. And watch his response.
I honestly believe he thinks that didn't happen. He did nothing wrong that night. He sent no support, that Benghazi was just made up. And you know, we lost 2 of our friends, and it was a fantasy. It's disgusting. Again, trying to rewrite history, but that's the left's. That's what they do. If it doesn't fit their narrative, if the history doesn't fit what they want, what their agenda is, they're going to try to rewrite it.
Final thoughts from you on that?
God bless Tonto and his friends that were there to help save the rest of those Americans. But 4 Americans died, and President Obama will not rewrite history. That happened on his watch, and he failed to protect them, and he never did send anybody into Benghazi to save those people, and it was within his power to do it.
Jason Chaffetz, the former congressman, thanks for your time this morning. Nice to see you.
By the organized, energized, inclusive many. That's what this moment's about. That has to be the answer. You cannot sit back and wait for a savior. You cannot sit back and wait for a savior. We don't need a Messiah. We don't need a Messiah. You cannot sit back and wait for a savior. We don't need a Messiah. You cannot sit back and wait for a savior. We don't need a Messiah. You cannot sit back and wait for a savior. You don't need a Messiah.
And they say, sir, can you come with us? And they escorted us out of Disneyland. This is a true story, everybody. You know, I was booted from the Magic Kingdom. 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 God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though its waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling, There is a river whose streams shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her just at the break of dawn. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come behold the works of the Lord, who has made desolations in the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in two. He burns the chariot in fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Be still and know that I am God.